Hey there everybody, welcome to another episode of Gideon's Tactical. Today we have a side-by-side tabletop review that I wanted to give you guys of two aircraft crewman designed knives. On the top we got the BK10 crewman designed by Ethan Becker for originally Camillus and then K-Bar. It is designed and was originally designed for the U.S. Air Force for their survival knife for their air crewmen. Then below we have the Gerber LMF 2 that was originally designed for helicopter pilots if they were to get shot down or crash, that they could get out of their aircraft and survive. So they're both aircraft designed survival / tactical knives that we have on the table before us today. I'm going to give us some basic specs. I've thrashed on both of these very hard. You can go back through my videos, and my subscribers have already seen them. I've heavily hard-tested, field-tested both the BK10 and the LMF2, and I'm going to kind of just give you my overall opinion, just purely my opinion, everybody. Comment, put your opinion down below, but this is my opinion after hard testing both of these knives. So let's go through the basic specs, and we'll talk about some of the philosophy behind them and my opinions on them. So you have almost the exact same width of blade, which is 1 and I'd just say over 1.5 inches wide. The blade length on the Gerber LMF2 is 4.85 or 4 7/8 of an inch, so just under 5 inches. And then the blade length for the BK10 is just over 5 inches at, I believe, 5.3. So you get about a third, not even a third, a quarter of an inch more on the BK10 blade length than you do on the Gerber LMF. The BK10 on the top is made out of 1095 high carbon steel, Rockwell hardness 56 to 58. The Gerber LMF2 is 420 high carbon steel, Rockwell hardness 55 to 57, so just one little step below in that Rockwell hardness. The blade thicknesses are exactly the same at 3/16 of an inch thick, as you can see right there on the spines. You both have saber grinds on both. The BK10 only comes in a plain edge. The LMF2 only comes as a half combo serrated plain edge, as you see there. Let's see, I'm trying to think what else. Full tank construction on both. Grivery handle scales with an exposed tang, which leads itself for durability, and a hammer on the bottom here. And then an enclosed with a craton handle and a hammer and a glass breaker on the back. Lanyard holds on both. And those are basically the basic specs. Weight on the BK10 is 12 ounces. On the LMF2 it is 11.5, so they're almost exactly the same weight. And again, guys, this is why I'm wanting to do this review. They're so similar. They were designed for basically the same purpose. So I just want to help you out if you're trying to make a decision, regardless if you are in the Air Force or in some sort of aircraft, deployment in some wing of the military, or if you just like knives or you're looking for a good 5-inch survival knife, whatever. And we'll go into the sheaths as well in a moment. So, after having given you kind of the basic specs, you can see they're so similar. And after having just thrashed on both, again, go ahead back through my videos, you can see the field testing of both of these knives. Really, it depends on, in my opinion, what you're going for. They're both very similar in price. I believe the BK10 might be about $10 more right now as of June 2013. I believe it's more around the $70, $75 mark, and you can get the LMF for around $65 to $70. So yeah, it's about $10 more for the BK10. They're both made in the USA, by the way, if I didn't mention that earlier. So with the Gerber, I'll talk about the Gerber first. That has great serrations, and you cannot get it plain edge, which is kind of sad for me, but they designed that again so that a helicopter pilot could cut their nylon strap, their seat belt very easily. Again, you have that kind of unsharpened swedge, huge amount of belly there, great, super strong tip, and the handle is very comfortable. You got that glass breaker back there at the back, which is really nice. You would definitely be able to blow out a window with that, and then you got this flat spot here that's designed to be a hammer as well. I really like just the feel, and this is definitely very comfortable. And out of the two, when it comes to the comfortability in your hand for extended use, the LMF wins. It's definitely a more comfortable knife to use. It feels better in your hand. It just is warmer to the touch than the BK10. I'll talk about the steels here really quick. After we look right here is again at just the handle. Again, you can see almost mirror images of each other. Very, very similar in both size, weight, everything like that. Again, those are hardened, Gryvery handle scales, kind of like a polymer plastic. You can get micarta handle scales if you want for about $40 more. You got that nice big hammer, non-lethal right there. Not to a point though, this would be much more difficult to blow out a window than say with the Gerber. And you can see there again that unsharpened swedge. A lot more aggressive tip for stabbing than the LMF has. Not quite as much belly. The LMF definitely has a little bit more belly. The BK10 has a 1095. I prefer that. That's one of my favorite types of steel. It is a high carbon steel, so it tends to rust a little bit more. It'll definitely rust faster than your 420 on the Gerber. But it holds an edge well. It's super easy to get an edge back on it. I prefer plain edges as well, so that's really nice. And the Rockwell hardness is great that they do with their 1095, 56 to 58. That's perfect for field use. You can put an edge on it without too much difficulty, and it'll hold that edge for a good amount of time. Going on to the 420 now. After having tested both of these, again, hard use, chopping, batoning, all sorts of stuff, I found that the 420 that Gerber uses held up just as well as this 1095. I didn't really see, and I know a lot of people are about to flip out, and I'm sure I'm going to get a ton of comments about it. But guys, I watch my reviews. Watch my reviews of each one individually. I did very hard testing on both of these knives, and the LMF kept its edge just as well as the BK10, even though it has 420, which is definitely a lower quality steel than your 1095. 420 is just more of a budget steel, but they seem to do a good job with their heat treatment or something over there at Gerber. Again, I would prefer 1095. If the Gerber was made out of 1095, I would like it even more. But the 420 seemed to hold up just as well. I didn't see any rolling, chipping, dulling, or anything like that any more than the BK10. They both held an edge for about the same amount of time, and it was just as easy to get the edge back on both of them. So when it comes to the steel, from my field experience, the 420 held up just as well as the 1095. Going on again here to kind of more the tip design. This is definitely more of a wilderness outdoor type of tip. You could definitely do a little bit more batoning better with the tip that's designed on this, and is not going to stab as well on the Gerber LMF as it would with the BK10. The BK10 has a much more aggressive swedge up there, so it's going to be able to stab better and penetrate if you did have to stab somebody, and it just is not going to lend itself to be able to baton quite as well because that unsharpened swedge is going to damage your batoning stick as you're hitting a little bit faster, but this will stab and penetrate better than the LMF. So for stabbing, the BK10 is a little bit better if you are looking for purely a tactical knife, whereas wilderness, you're actually going to get a little bit better both slicing capability with the mounted belly on the LMF and a little bit stronger tip. It won't stab as well, but it's going to be a little bit stronger tip if you are having to do some really heavy duty prying and things like that. Now going on to the handle constructions here. Now, if you watch my LMF review, I did some batoning, and as I was, hitting the spine and going through some light batoning chores, I blew out this craton and plastic insert right here and damaged the whole knife. The whole knife started to get loose and really failed. The knife failed that batoning test, and I had to send it back to Gerber. Gerber sent me back a brand new one really quick, and I really appreciated that. So when it comes to really hard use, I've found that craton, and I've had problems also with the SRK and the cold steel kukri that have fully enclosed tangs and handles. You can't see the tang at all. They tend to loosen up, the cold steels do, and then after this blowing out, I prefer, if I'm talking about for myself here at Gideon's Tactical, I'm out in a survival situation, I'm going to go with a knife that has an exposed tang like this every time. It just has bolted in handle scales. That means I can baton if I have to, chop, I'm going to be able to pry, because these are only bolted in. If I have to, I can just tighten these very easily if they were somehow to loosen up, though I've never experienced any loosening with any of my knives that have bolted on scales. This is just going to be an overall more durable, hard use knife, the BK10, over the LMF. Now, with that being said, if you aren't really using this in wood processing as much, or you're not using it for batoning, the Gerber is going to do just as well as the BK10. Just for my personal use, I want to know that I can do anything with my knife and not worry about it breaking, loosening up, or damaging on me. Now, with that being said, I like to use the LMF a little bit more, again, for the comfortability in the handle, as well as reaching over, and I can get in and do my detail work easier with that thumb guard is very short, whereas the jimping and thumb ramp on the BK10 is much wider, and I have to go a lot further with my thumb, and it's a little bit more uncomfortable if I'm doing some wood carving and whittling in that format. And then finally, for the back end, this is definitely going to be able to hammer probably a little bit better. They both have these kind of hooks back here, which allow for awesome chopping. They both chop about the same. You're going to get the same brush clearing capabilities when it comes to chopping with the LMF or the BK10. They're both going to do about the same. And the only basically bonus is if you are using this maybe as a car knife, that'll break through, or you are in the Air Force of some sort or helicopter pilot, this will blow out a window definitely easier than the BK10 on the back side. Going on the sheaths here really quick, going to try and step on as fast as I can for us. This is the BK10 sheath, nylon. It weighs less than the LMF version, obviously, but very similar. It's got 3 retention points, so it is jump ready. You got the 2 right here, which are really nice and strong. And then you got the third, these sets of rivets that you could wrap around, so you have 3 retention points. You got MOLLE all the way along the back and a pocket in the front. So that's the sheath with the BK10, a very nice sheath, one of the better ones on the market. But I will say that the LMF definitely has slightly better sheaths still, because it gives you multiple options. You can carry it all sorts of different ways. It is still jump ready because it's got the 3 retention points, 1, 2, and 3. It clicks in here. Just show you really quick. Really durable. So 1, 2, 3. So you got your 3 retention points. You do get the sharpener in the sheath as well, which is nice. It's just an added bonus. You should always have a secondary sharpener on you, but you could definitely resharpen your plane edge if you had to, just the plane edge part of the knife with this sheath, and then you could just take the rubberized piece off purely if that's all you wanted, and you can lash it all sorts of different ways. You are just going to get more versatility out of the sheath with the LMF sheath than you are with the BK10. And now it is a little heavier. The overall weight of the LMF is going to be heavier than the overall weight with the sheath combined of the BK10. Not by much, but by about 3 or 4 ounces. The LMF is going to be an overall heavier package to carry on your person than the BK10. So in conclusion, after you've heard all that, my opinion on these 2 knives, if you are going to be doing and you are looking for all-inclusive wilderness and tactical survival knife, I got to go with the BK10 purely, this is the only reason, purely because of the bolt-on handle scales and the failure that I had. And again, check it out on my channel, the review of the LMF2. The blowout that I had, and the fact that I know now that I cannot do heavy batoning with this LMF, whereas I know I can thrash on this BK10 all day long, baton it all sorts of ways, beat on it, hit on it, and these handle scales aren't going to loosen up or fall off or break, and the knife is going to continue to stay intact, whereas the LMF could, if I really did something really bad or dumb or stupid or just something happened, this may break, this little insert right here, this little plastic around the knife, this is plastic right here, that black piece, or this rubberized craton could break or get damaged in some way, and then the whole knife is going to loosen up and basically become useless for me. Now, with that being said, if you are in more of an urban environment where you know you're not going to process wood, or you're a soldier and you know you're never going to start a campfire, so there's no reason to ever baton any wood, and you need something that can definitely break out a window, well, then the LMF is going to be a little bit better for you. It's going to hold up just as well with the steel. The steel is going to hold an edge just as well. The sheath is just as good. It has the same thickness. It's still a very durable knife. If you're in urban tactical environments, the LMF might have a slight advantage over the BK10. But in wilderness use, if you are in maybe a part of the world where you could get shot down in the, in the backcountry, and you're going to have to make, a shelter and baton and start a fire and all those things, or you are just a backpacker, hiker, that type of a person, where you are going to be basically using your knife against wood, the BK10 all the way. If you are using it slightly more in a tactical, urban setting, fighting, and you're really never going to have to process wood in the entire existence of your knife, then the LMF will probably be a slightly better knife for you. So I really hope this review has helped you guys out. Comment, subscribe, check out my previous reviews of the field testing of the BK10 and the LMF so that help you make your decision. So I hope this has helped you out. Thank you so much for watching. Stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.